Hello and welcome to Radio Free Nintendo. I'm back. I'm James Jones, and it is August 6th, 2026, and this is episode 987, I think.
You are correct.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm joined today by Mr. John Lindemann.
It's great to be here, James. It's, back at the helm, James Jones, so.
Is great to have you, boys.
Yeah.
Also by Guillaume Veillette.
Yeah. Welcome back, James.
Thank you, Guillaume. It's good to be back. And Mr. Greg Leahy.
Oh, hoy, everyone.
The reference there, for those of you who aren't 2 weeks behind on the podcast, is John's implication that I sent him a bunch of Z's, including bitches, when I sent the message that I was going to be out, which is correct. I did do that. Guillaume made the joke that I must have sent two very different messages to them. I actually did send two very different messages to them, but ultimately delivered the same content. So that is accidentally accurate, which is the RFN way. Because I did want to respond
until right now. I absolutely thought that John was making up the bitches thing.
Oh no, he did make that part up.
I did make that up.
But
yeah,
the tone of the two emails was different. I did attenuate the message to the audience because, as John noted, I'm a master communicator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I did want to touch.
All you have to do with me, I can't host tonight. Okay,
yeah,
it's fine.
I gave a little context.
Yeah,
I provided a little bit.
I don't need context. Just tell me you can't host.
I know.
I'm good to go.
But
I'm good to go.
I like to give y'all more warning than that. So I wanted to speak to why I didn't. Unplanned absences are the best, but it's okay. There wasn't anything wrong. I just took some time for me. I did want to respond to a question y'all got though that I thought I was riding my bike this morning, listening to it as part of my like morning exercise, and I was like, I can't believe they're not saying this. Like the idea of what could have changed video games or what would change video games in the same way that the 2D to 3D transition happened, and nobody mentioned the commoditization and proliferation of online gameplay. I was like, we started getting to like Minecraft stuff. I'm like, okay, all right, they're gonna get there, and we never got there, and I was like, I'm sure
how much I've ever played online. That's
I mean, you played Smash Online a lot.
Oh yeah, well, a fair bit, but it's not compared to the way this, it would have transformed a lot of people's playing habits. It's more kind of modest for me.
I think it transformed how a lot of those games are built. Though.
Oh,
I mean,
of course.
If you go back and look
it has.
If you go back and
and it ties into what we talked about, what we did talk about in terms of the model, with the monetization model and all that is bound up in how those games are distributed and how they're played online. So it's got a pervasive effect.
And even how they're built, like we don't get big single player first person shooters anymore. Not really. Like they happen occasionally, and when they do, it's the exception.
Yeah.
It's just the way that particular genre evolved.
But like the kind of some of the other things, like the model, the kind of arcade style design, giving way to more home based, sort of design, and giving way to the influence of mobile, distribution, all these kinds of things. It's slower. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing that's about the 3D part. Yeah. That's not that was absolutely instantaneous. It isn't just Mario 64 comes out and the world changes and that's it. But it's it was comparatively quick, whereas online was something that was kind of happening for a long time, and it just sort of gradually got more and more and more mainstream as time went on. And obviously some platform holders pushed it harder than others. I think it's fair to say, when you juxtapose Microsoft with Nintendo and Sony, kind of somewhere in the middle.
For those of you who haven't been around for 20 years, you can go back and listen to the early days of this group, and the trials and tribulations of John and I just trying to add each other on our Wii to play Smash Brothers together.
Rough.
It was like 6 straight weeks of like, no, I've confirmed I have the right code in the system, John. Why is your friend code not clearing?
Yeah, and I think what was so baffling was that Microsoft had basically solved all of these problems. You know, was and Sony too. Like they weren't as smooth as Xbox, Live at the time.
Microsoft, you paid for the premium.
Yeah, but it just worked. It just worked, right? And worked pretty flawlessly. And here comes Nintendo with all of this goofy stuff.
With the best stuff. It was terrible.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
The other email I wanted to respond to, Seren had warned me about the fitness boxing local multiplayer with the audio not synced bullshit before she sent the email. So I actually had an answer, and I thought Greg was going to go there. He was talking about Mario Maker 2, and I was like, he's got it. He's going to land there. The camera got mentioned, and I was like, we're going to get there. Here it is, although not by Greg. The idea of like, well, you can use the mouse to get something similar to the gamepad. Sure, but that doesn't have the vibe. None of y'all had the vibe of fitness boxing going, what if there are two TVs with slightly audio out of sync in the same room while trying to play a rhythm game? Like, it really needs to be like that level of manic. And so I think what it is motion capturing from the camera, pointer controls for Mario Maker 2. That, like, nobody's done that on Switch 2. In theory, it can support it. I'm just suggesting that might be the way to really bring life to a terrible experience that no one should ever play, and I desperately want to see happen. That's it. That's what I needed. I just wanted to make sure that nightmare was in everybody else's brain in the hopes that somebody at Nintendo is listening and it accidentally gets to the wrong person. So just being the change I don't want to see in the world, essentially. That's the James Jones promise to you, is I'm back. I'm also back for some new business. I was out for 2 weeks. For those of you who don't have any kind of memory of what the episode does after you stop listening to it, I understand. My girlfriend was visiting, kind of an impromptu visit, so we didn't really have a ton of plans, which is why my absences were also impromptu. But did get to play some stuff while she was here. Did get to play some stuff since she's left as well. So obviously Pokopia is the big thing. I'm going to get to it. We did play Lego Voyagers. We had originally planned to play that online, because it's something we could have done while we were, during the time that we're not in the same place. For whatever reason, schedules never aligned to make that happen. So we played that while she was here. John, you talked about it. Playing it locally, I think, probably has a lot of advantages over playing it online, just because I can communicate what I'm trying to do. I could just, she was sitting on the floor playing it on a Switch in handheld. I was playing it on the TV from the couch. I could just look down at her and say, I am about to do this. I think you should go do that. And that is a much more effective means of communication than anything we could have done online. But also, she could just kind of look up and see what I was doing. Just some thoughts on it, because I know we've kind of talked about what this game is. I'm not going to drill too deep into that. But for those of you who are just completely oblivious, it is a game where you control a Lego piece. It is a mandatory 2-player game. Each one of you controls a single 1x1 brick that interacts with the environment in an attempt to get to where they saw a rocket crash, like a rocket going to space. And a lot of stuff happens along the way. It's mostly puzzle solving. There's some light platforming, but like I said, it's 80+% puzzle solving. There's some physicsy stuff. There's some gravity stuff. There's some fun Lego references in there. It's a really good game. I was going to say great. I think there's some stuff that keeps it from greatness. The camera is the big one, though. It does not a fixed camera angle, but it basically sets the camera angle based on one player. And it's not a fixed, it's always blue or always red. And so sometimes if you're blue, I was blue. And there were times where I was just off screen and I couldn't do anything about it. I just wasn't on screen. Even though the game knew we had 2 separate screens, it knew that she was playing on a handheld and I was playing on TV, and these are not the same Switches. They could have very easily given us somewhat different views. I get that they didn't want to do that for, gameplay constraint reasons. But it did make it hard sometimes if one of you ended up off screen and the other, it zoomed out all the way, which then made it hard to figure out what you're trying to do because it was way too zoomed out. The whole thing just got kind of messy. Didn't happen a lot, but it happened enough that we got to the point where we were commenting on it, We went to dinner after we finished the game. Like, it's really short. It's 2 sittings. And it was one of the topics of conversation. There, in the very end game, there's some challenges that it has you do. One of them is it basically asks you to play Lunar Lander. But it's 2-player Lunar Lander. And this happens a lot. Like, sometimes you're controlling a Lego vehicle and one of you has one direction of control and one of you has the other. Like, one of you has the gas and the other one has the steering wheel, essentially. That can be awkward. It's deliberately awkward, but sometimes that can be a bit frustrating. But the Lunar Lander sequence was particularly so because it's asking a lot of you to do that as 2 different people. Now, we were mostly successful. Fun fact I discovered, a Switch 1 cannot do, what's the term we use for share, where you're sharing the game across connections?
Game share.
Yeah.
Are we talking about, I guess it's game share just simply that if it's local, and then it's game share via game chat if it's done online.
So to do game share on Switch 1, she would have had to have set up her account for it on the Nintendo Switch app, which, shockingly, she's never used the Nintendo Switch app. Who would have possibly been able to have the authentic Switch experience without that deeply integral piece of software?
I mean, she's missing out, that's for sure.
That thing that we spent 5.5 years making fun of. And the only reason we stopped is we forgot about it. So Switch 2, you don't need it. You can set it all up from the Switch 2. But like that meant we had to play it via which I will give the Lego Voyagers team a ton of credit. There is an app you can download on a Switch that does not have Lego Voyagers, and it is able to join a session run by a person who does have Lego Voyagers online. So we only had to have 1 copy of the game, despite the fact we were on 2 devices. And it worked great. Like, it was because we didn't have game share going, because we couldn't run it because she didn't have the app. It was going out over the internet and then coming back into my house, which is kind of funny. But not, if it was off, it was relatively imperceptible, because there is the hey button where you just press it and make noise. I could see her pressing it, and then I could hear it on my TV, and there was a little gap, but it wasn't huge. Yeah. And it wasn't a problem. So yeah, like I think this game is really good. I think there's some stuff in there that okay, that could have been better, or I wouldn't have done it that way, but it's nitpicking. It is short. So like getting it on sale is probably worth it, because it's, I don't know, what would you say, John? About 3.5 hours?
Yeah, it's not long, but that's good. It's like the perfect kind of game where you play it over a couple of nights,
Yeah. Like we played it 2 hours one night and then like an hour the next, and then we went to dinner.
Yeah.
Like it was fine. And we stopped because we got frustrated on something. It's also got 1 million checkpoints. Mm-hmm. Because you can fuck things up. You can soft lock your game, but the checkpoint is probably 30 seconds of progress back.
Yeah. If I had one complaint, it would probably just be that sometimes piecing the pieces together is just kind of janky. Like getting them oriented, fiddly. And also like fiddly when you have to piece together multiple pieces like on top of each other to build a bridge or something like that. Some of that can get like, oh god, like just you can just never get the piece turned around how you want it, or doesn't attach just right. Yeah.
There's a puzzle that involves using a magnet to pick up gray pieces and taking them to the other side, and then using them to build a bridge. And it's fine. It's a perfectly solvable puzzle. The problem is that you have to do it. Yeah, there's so many pieces you need to build the bridge. It's tedious. That's the right word for it. Because like you've already proven you know how to solve the puzzle and you can do it. Now you just have to do it 4 times until you have enough pieces stacked up to build the bridge. Yeah. Which would have been easily solvable by just making the bridge not tall as well as long. Just make it long, and you don't have to solve it once. Carry over 3 or 4 pieces and you'd be set. It's a minor thing. Like it doesn't come up that much, but it does come up, and I would say like, I don't know, like 1 out of 10 puzzles. Like I'm about to say about 1 out of 10 of the big puzzles you run into I'm just doing this 3 or 4 times just because I have to, not because this is showing any additional mastery that I didn't have the first time. I'm doing the exact same thing. But again, this is a short game, so like even when that came up, I don't know, 4 or 5 times over the course of the game, that was it, and the game was done. Like you're right, I wouldn't want it that much longer. I could see maybe a little bit longer, but not really that much longer. Yeah. There is a little bit of asynchronous gameplay too, in that at some point the pieces aren't the same anymore. I'll word it that way. One of the pieces changes, and that makes them control differently. And they can do things that the other piece can't. And so at that point, you actually have one player is playing the game differently than the other. And I don't know if it's always the blue piece that changes.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
If it's like something related to how the two play. Like if it's one player is doing more things, maybe they get that change. But it does make the piece that changes more awkward to control. But also it means that they're going to get stuck with a bunch of the more actiony stuff at the very end of the game. All the simulators, I'll use that. I'll be vague. All the simulator stuff, all the training stuff, for us, Blue had to do it. And so I could see that also as maybe the game has some detection to be like, this is the player that would probably be better served doing that. Let's give them the boost. Because I could see if it stuck the player if it stuck a weaker player in that role, being frustrating for both parties. But maybe I'm giving the game too much credit. I don't know. But had a good time. It's fun. It's cute. It has some neat ideas. It looks really nice on Switch 2 and on 4K TV. Looks really nice. I only got to see it on Switch 1 on the gamepad. On the system screen. So I don't know how that would look on the TV, but on the Switch 2, it looked really nice. Big game I want to talk about. Game I played a lot of while she was here because she just kind of enjoyed watching it. Denshattack. This came out about 3 weeks ago. It showed up in an indie showcase a few months back. This was called like anime Tony Hawk with trains. I think that's a little bit not specific enough, and you're probably thinking, how the fuck could you be more specific than that? This is like Tony Hawk Downhill Jam anime with trains. Because it's a train. It's on a rail. Like Tony Hawk Downhill Jam was on a track going down rather than being a big open play space. Like you're always moving forward because it's a fucking train. What this is it is a post-apocalyptic game where there has been something that is just constantly referred to as the environmental collapse. And we were talking about RoboCop before the show started, as we do. And how essentially the world of RoboCop is run by a company that is producing all of these bad things, but they are the de facto government. In Denshattack, after the environmental collapse, Japan is run by a company called Miraido, which is the de facto government. And what they are doing is they are building these large domes over area of Japan to create stable climate in them. And essentially there are people who live in the domes. These are the elites. These are the wealthy. These are people who worked on the project. And then there's everybody else who is left outside to deal with the environmental consequences of climate change as caused by humans. And what that means is there are a group of young people who have decided that they're going to get their kicks by taking old trains from the pre-collapse and riding them on the rails and doing sick stunts. And like it's very much a skateboard culture allegory, including the fact there are fanzines being produced by a guy who's just like rolling with your crew and taking pictures and notes. But essentially this game has you take your train onto a track and do stunts. And you do stunts with the right stick. You can jump. You can change tracks to get around platforming challenges. As the game goes, you get more and more skills and locomotion things. At one point, you can launch a tether from your train and grab a thing above you, and it turns your train into a hanging monorail that swings back and forth. There are boss fights in this Tony Hawk Downhill Jam with trains and anime. There is a crazy amount of like there are stunt tracks, but there's still tracks. Like you're still on a rail, that are all about score. There are ones that are about time. There are races where there are lots of tracks and you're trying to get to the front of a pack and win a race. This can involve driving your opponents off the track if you feel like it. And this game just feels well, all right. I was going to say this game feels really good, but I'm going to actually stop myself. This game asks a shitload of the player. When you are in the air, you can do stunts with the right stick, and there's all kinds of like command patterns you can draw with the stick to do different stunts. And just like a Tony Hawk game, you have to make sure you don't do the same stunt too much or it gets stale. You can create combos, and just like a Tony Hawk game, when you land, if you manual, which in a train means you're either only on the back or front wheels of the train, which is weird. You can continue that combo, or if you want to grind, you can continue the combo. Yeah, you can also grind with your train. I don't even know how I failed to mention that. You can fucking grind rails with your train. Like all of those things you would expect to see in sort of the Tony Hawk format are present, and it's been applied to the controls more or less how I would expect Tony Hawk game to play now, except there's a lot of other stuff Tony Hawk never has to do. He never had to hang from a pole and then jump off at the right timing.
Is it the same sort of setup, though, where it's like a time attack sort of thing, or?
It depends on the track. So there are some that are time attacks where you're just trying to score as many points as possible. There are some where you're racing a single opponent down a course, and you have to get there before they do. There are ones where it's like a multi-lap race. It's like a 3-lap race, and you're timed on individual laps, and you're trying to get there as fast as you can. You're wondering, like, what's train? How do you get there faster than other people? And the answer is you can fall off the track. You can miss a turn by not braking through a turn. You can miss a jump. You can hit a wall. You can hit an obstacle. You can get taken out by a kaiju, which is a thing that happens.
Can you also cheat? Can you cut corners?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or do you have to stay on the track? Okay.
Right.
I have absolutely. If you come into
I have absolutely jumped over a turn and landed on a rail beyond it. Yes.
Okay. So you can kind of sequence break if you.
You absolutely can.
Okay. So it is that free form.
Yeah. It's not. Those are rare that you could sequence break it that significantly, but. There is a mode that you unlock where if you score enough style points over the course of a race, I can't remember what the term is, but essentially a rainbow track shows up, and it's literally rainbow colored. You can't see that track beforehand, and that often takes you somewhere special. And on races, sometimes that means you just like bypass whole sections of the track. So it's like, okay, even though the combo score isn't really important for this race, you should do it anyway so you can build up that meter and you can get the shortcut.
Yep.
Some of the tracks that are just regular tracks where you're just trying to go from A to B have secret exits that take you to special areas or take you to special events that are on the kind of Super Mario Brothers 3 style map.
Nice.
Of all the different courses. And yeah, like you can unlock secret courses. There are boss fights. I fought a giant sailor scout robot made out of train cars. I fought a train car that had, the pitching machine that Nintendo made all those years ago. It's got a giant one of those on it that shoots giant train-sized baseballs at you, and you have to do stunts to hit the baseball back at them in the air. So you jump your train. I'm going to repeat that. You jump your train and do a sick flip to make it smack the ball back at your opponent. This game's got fucking style, too. Like, it looks like an anime. It's very cel-shaded. It's very stylized. It looks really good. The girlfriend was watching me play it for hours. Now, I can only play this game for a couple hours before I'm toast. It's like, I got to put it down. But she would just sit there and watch me play it. And it was visually interesting enough that she just seemed to enjoy that. I offered to let her play it a couple times, and she's like, no, I'm good. this seems like a lot. And that's the thing. The game keeps giving you new mechanics, and it does feel like a lot. And they feel overwhelming when you get them. You're like, this is the 7th mechanic. This is the 7th thing I have to consider while I'm on a track, with very limited warning that, oh shit, I need to do this thing, or I'm going to fall off the track. But, and this is where things come in, is eventually I get to the spot where I don't feel like it's a lot. Like the 7th item actually wasn't that bad. But then it introduces the 8th item. And suddenly I'm back to the whole, I'm overwhelmed. Oh God, I'm overwhelmed again. I just got an item or a skill that lets me reverse gravity with a train. And in the story, because you meet this colorful cast of characters, one of them's like, apparently he's an engineer and he stopped making trains for Denshattack, which is also the name of the sport, because his driver died with this new ability that he gave him. And then he tells me it's the ability to invert gravity. I'm like, yeah, he fucking died. I'd like, but we think you can handle it. And so I'm inverting gravity constantly. I'm struggling with that one. It's a lot. I like this game. I like its cast. I like its style. It can feel a little rough, but it's very not punishing. If you fuck up, you'll get to continue right where you left off. The only tracks that are legitimately punishing are ones that have a timer, or are races, because races you'll end up falling back in the pack, and ones that have a timer, you're going to break your combo. And you're trying to score as many points as you need to before the timer expires. There's a million hidden objectives in there. There are hidden items on the track. Some tracks are like, hey, do these 3 things, kind of like an American Wasteland level. But yeah, this game is really cool. This game is really fucking cool. You should go watch video of it. And if you think, damn, this game looks cool, it's cool, you should buy it. If you think, I don't know, man, this looks whack, to keep the theming going, I would say, like, if your first impression is like, I don't know about this, don't do it. Like, trust your gut on this one. If you watch it and you think, oh, it's cool, get it. If you watch it and go like, I don't know, it seems, I'd say don't. Like, I don't think this is the kind of game that's going to convert people who watch the video and don't feel good about it, to people who are like, no, actually, this is great. I love this thing. So yeah, I would say I think it's really fun. I had a really good time with it. I encourage other people to play it. But yeah, go watch a video, go watch the trailer, and if the trailer hits, you should play it. All right, so Pokopia, Bubbly Basin. Has anybody else played the DLC of Pokopia? It came out day before yesterday. I
have not picked up the DLC. I did pop in just to get the dive. Ability.
So do you get the dive ability without having bought the DLC?
Correct. Yeah, you do. Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's nice.
Yeah, they just say, oh, hey, there's a new island over there. You might want to swim over to it and see what's up. And then you go over and you give the what is it, the Manaphy or Manaphy or whatever it is? Yeah.
Yeah, Manaphy. Okay, I thought Manaphy was part of the DLC. I didn't realize that it shows up.
Nope. Yeah, it shows up and it's like, yep, I need seaweed. You gather seaweed, and then you get the dive ability. And then you're good to go. Oh,
I already had a 99 stack of seaweed in my inventory. I was like, He's like, oh, you need to go find me some seaweed. I'm like, nah, bro.
Yeah, I was actually surprised I didn't have seaweed in my inventory, because like usually you just like just have so much seaweed everywhere. But I have a feeling I might have actually just put it in storage, because I got sick of carrying it around in my inventory all the time.
So I'll get to Bubbly Basin in a minute, the area, because it's I've got thoughts on it. It's still early. I've only had it for 2 days. But I want to talk about quality of life shit. There's some quality of life stuff in this DLC. And John, you can tell me here's something that I'm pretty sure you got. And it's the ability to put down more than one square at a time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a square out and you press up, it goes 1, 4, 9, I think. So it puts that 3x3 down, a 2x2, or a 1x1. It would be nice to be able to put down like a 2x1 instead of a 1x1, but hey, it's something. excuse me. It would have been super helpful when I was building the big giant buildings in the game, the area they intend to be the post game area. Would have been real fucking helpful.
Well, planting stuff, I could see that'd be really helpful too.
Yeah, you had to flatten huge chunks of land. I'm like, boy, that would have been awesome. But hey, if you haven't flattened big chunks of land, this is the tool for you. There was you can now ask Professor Tangrowth to appraise more than one item at a time. I just stopped doing it because I had like 40 of the relics, and I'm just like, I can't be fucking bothered to go through this menu 40 times. That's stupid. Now it'll ask you like, oh, you've got more than one. How many do you want me to appraise? And then you just get them.
Yeah.
That is so much nicer.
Yeah.
I went and cleared my backlog. I legitimately, the small one, the small relics, I legitimately had 80 of them in my inventory. Because I had just fucking stopped.
Yeah.
And like, I burned through them. I'm cleaned up. My inventory. Now, that meant I ended up with a bunch of shit in my inventory, but I dropped them into the new box because there's a new box. There's actually multiple new types of boxes. I've been using the large boxes, for storage. Particularly, I've got in it's called Pallet Town when you get it, but you can rename it. It's the area that's basically just empty. I have a crafting table and a large box, and the large box has 99 stacks of crafting material in it. I then have another large box immediately behind it. That's the overflow for the first large box. So if I've got
the large box, you mean the 3-pager?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is very useful, but it means that this is now my crafting area. I have 2 overflow boxes because I overflowed the overflow box. So I've got 2 of all the crafting material at level 99 in the main box. And once I've got 2 in there, it goes in the backup box. Once the backup box has 2, it goes in the tertiary box. At tertiary box, it was very nearly getting to the spot where it was going to be full. And note the past tense. The past tense is very important because one of the new boxes is, I think it's called like the teleportation box. And what it means is everywhere you put this new type of box down, which takes like 10 Pokemetal to make, you can access items you've put in that type of box anywhere in the world. And it does the thing that other boxes do when it's next to a crafting station. It will use material from it instead of from your inventory. Or it'll use material from it first and then from your inventory. That means I converted the primary storage box for my crafting area in the Pallet Town into this thing. And it's got 4 pages. It's even better. And now I'm just in every town, I'm building one of these teleportation boxes. And I can now build anywhere. In fact, I'm keeping one in my inventory in case I'm at a crafting table that's not the main crafting table for that town. I just plop it out of my inventory, and now I have everything. I don't have to carry all this shit around anymore. It's a godsend, because Bubbly Basin is a hellscape. Bubbly Basin's underwater. It is just like every other town you've come across in ruins. But the ruins here are particularly weird because it is underwater, so Ditto moves very differently. More cumbersomely to a certain degree. Also, the area is very confusing to navigate. Because it is underwater, there's lots of verticality to the stage. The stage itself isn't that big, but there are islands that jut above the water. There's things that are on essentially like highlands in the water. So you're in the water, but it's relatively high altitude. Then there are like trenches you can drop into that have things in them. Then you can go down even further into deep water trenches that are dark, and there are things in them. There are caves and fake walls that you need to knock out in order to get around that have things hidden in them. And then there are like underwater passageways that take you to caves that have literally buildings in them. So this is the first time I've been building a lot of new habitats in a long time. I've had all the Pokemon for a while. And so I'm using the cameras to tell me when somebody spawns. So like you build a habitat, you point one of the security cameras at it, you make sure the video is lined up. And if a Pokemon spawns there, you'll get an alert that says, a new Pokemon has been spotted by camera number blank. And you can look at the map for the area and see where camera 5 is. But because of the verticality, camera 5 might not actually be anywhere near you. It might be deep down inside a cave that, yes, in this 2D depiction of the world, you are standing in the same place. In the 3D depiction of the world, you are actually quite far away, and the entrance to the cave is somewhere else. Obviously, I found it at some point, but I don't necessarily have it now. So navigating Bubbly Basin is kind of a pain in the ass. The other things I've learned is that not having the infrastructure of a town to do the rebuilding, I'd forgotten how exhausting that can be. Trying to do the initial build so you have enough residents that you can do things and it not be a problem. I built a house that looks like a Sharpedo. That was kind of neat. But it feels like just navigating itself is the hardest challenge in this area. And so I'm still trying to figure that out a little bit. I'm enjoying it still. I've put about 5 hours in it since it came out. That was about 3 days ago. But it needs a lot more work from me in order to make Bubbly Basin a functional area that I can operate in than any stage before it. And I am constantly having to empty my inventory, picking up trash, clearing sand and debris, picking up shells and rocks and busted up wood, because it's everywhere. It is fucking everywhere. You do get a new Pokemon doll to take you to a new Pokemon biome. It is a biome based on Bubbly Basin. But they do the thing Nintendo does in DLC sometimes where, if you bought the DLC, suddenly the DLC area has way more rewards in it than a normal area of a similar size. And that is the case here where you get a new Dream Island you can go to via Ditto, and you get a new Pokedoll, which is how you get there. And it is, there are so many, because you go to these Dream Islands and you could find items, they're in Pokeballs. The density at which items are distributed on the new Dream Island, which is only accessible with the DLC, feels like they are trying to sell the game using that extra boost. But I'm still enjoying it. Like, cleaning up this town is a particular pain in the ass. It is a constant struggle. I've had to go back to my major storage depot to unload my inventory 3 or 4 times. But like that area, it is rewarding seeing an area that was just completely ruins come back together slowly as you putting it together. And because this area was so bad, I'm getting that dopamine hit faster. So I like the DLC. Oh, go ahead.
Have you completed the Poke Center yet? Restoring
yes,
it?
I have built the Poke Center in that area. I'm up to level 4 in town, and I am trying to find others so I can get it higher, essentially. Yeah. I've got, I think it's like, I don't have to look, but I've got like 25 Pokemon running around now, or maybe 20 running around now. Because it's underwater, I don't think I can just bring people there. Like, when I was building a new town in the past, I would bring people from other towns to sort of staff aug. I don't know that I can do that here because it is underwater.
Yeah.
There are a handful of spots that aren't, so if I'm building a house in one of those, maybe I could get away with it. But I'd need to know that before I even try. Because I would hate to try it and then find out I can't, and then just be like, man, shit.
Yeah, how does Lapras behave?
So Lapras, you can only spawn Lapras if you are not very far underwater. That's the game's wording. If you are like more than like the level of water you could go down to before you drowned before, once you cross that threshold, you can't summon Lapras anymore.
Oh, okay.
But you can swim straight up. So, like, if you are like more than like the level of water you could go down to before, once you cross that threshold, you can't summon Lapras anymore. Oh, okay. But you can swim straight up. So, like, if you are like more than like the level of water you could go down to before, once you cross that threshold, you can't summon Lapras anymore. Oh, okay. what you would do instead is swim straight up and then press the button and you'll summon Lapras. You can also keep level while you're swimming. If you just regularly move, you'll slowly fall. That can be kind of... It can make moving around a little bit frustrating. It's a little bit like the unlockable Magnemite controls, but you're also falling, but slowly. Versus Magnemite, where you're just kind of jetting around and doing whatever the fuck you want. You have to more actively be involved in keeping your position in the water column. I like the new town. I really like the new items. I don't love the geography or the geology of the new town. It makes navigating it a pain in the ass. So I'm probably going to punch holes in some mountains to make it easier. That'll be fun.
What are the new stones?
There's a bunch of new types. But like there's a new grass, obviously. There's some new rock. There's a bunch of new building types, new building blocks. But also like the types of buildings you get plans for and put them down. I had built up my fortune in this game just doing the dailies. I had like 68,000 of the monies. And
I'm at something. I'm at like 49,000.
Yeah, right I spent a good chunk of it in the new town early on. But what ended up happening is that unlocked challenges that are the one-time only challenges, which have good payouts instead of the daily challenges, which have shit payouts. And so I've made up most of that money already. It does mean I'm going to have to do some stuff that's like, okay, I need to do the daily challenges for a little while to make up the rest of it. But I'm still sitting on like 48,000. I'm probably good. I may not need to earn a single credit ever again. But I'm enjoying it. I think it would help if it was easier to get around. It's got the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 problem of like, I'm standing in a 2D world. I would be standing on top of the thing I am looking for, but the world's not 2D, and that means the thing is either above me or below me. What do I do? There is a little bit of that here, but you know. Besides that, it's fun. Like it's Pokopia. I mean, I have things like I never stopped playing this game. I was poking at it every day for at least a few minutes, doing daily challenges and checking the store to see if there were new items, new recipes to buy. Now there are. That's great. It makes me happy. And yeah, like I'm just sort of working on this town. There's not much left for me to do today because I had 3 building teams go, and all of them it'll be done tomorrow. So there's basically like 2 people in the entire town who aren't building these fucking things, and neither of them are going to be helpful. So, tomorrow I'll sign in and I'll have 2 more fresh buildings to invite people into. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. I was thinking if there's anything else I want to talk about. There's a bunch of new Pokemon. I'm enjoying working with them. I'm enjoying meeting them and their goofiness. There's a couple new Pokemon skills. There's a bunch of new poses and costumes and stuff like that. And yeah, the new items, new textures, new blocks, all that stuff.
Yeah, is there anything that's like the equivalent of new like street lights or anything like that, or any kind of like like sort of because one of the things like say for example when you come into Bleak Beach you get the ability to have a windmill and then string power cables to everything. Is there?
Yeah, there's that. There are water wheels. So in the pockets of air underwater, like in a cave, one of them has a water wheel on it. Another one has a water wheel that's on an island just above the water. And they introduce a new type of electrical transmission called what do they call it? Wireless power poles. And these are like like they had power poles that make the wire go around. This is about half as tall, and they light up when they're connected to the grid. And so the game gives you like 20 of them to start with. And right now I'm just waiting to get the recipe to make more. The very first quest, or maybe like the second quest in Bubbly Basin, has you lay down a couple of them in the spots on the ground where they very clearly are indicating we want you to put one here. And it takes you into one of those dark trenches. and then I can't remember what the quest is when you get down there. But there's a quest down there. You do it, and you continue. Yeah, I'm having fun with it. It's a sizable piece of DLC, and of course, there are 2 more DLC chapters coming. We don't know what's in them, but I'm excited to see. Excited to navigating this area is a little more tedious than I would like, but with the quality of life additions they gave, I'll get by. I think I came out ahead anyway.
Yeah, it sounds like overall it's giving you exactly what you expected.
Yep. Yeah.
And was looking for.
This is a well-made add-on, clearly made by professionals.
I would accept nothing less.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I want you to accept being the second person for new business.
Sure, I can do that. So, yeah, like I just said, I did play Pokemon Pokopia for a small amount of time, really just to dip in and get the dive ability, just to kind of see how it worked and how it functioned, and really my first instinct is to head back to Bleak Beach and rebuild that center area like it is clearly meant to be rebuilt. Because one of the things you realize in that area is that you're like, it took me a while. I was like, okay, well, clearly this is just like an island. And it's like, no, actually there was land here that took up the entirety of this whole central area.
Yep.
But it's like cut in half. So I'll have to rebuild that. So that's on the to-do list. And it was nice to just hop back in and get a couple. Actually, yeah, I think for me, 3 new recipes showed up in the shop.
The dream.
Yeah, and they were like kind of miscellaneous things. I think they were like building materials, but they were like columns and pillars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They weren't anything really to write home about. But yeah, so I will dip back into that at some point. Like I said, I completely finished Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I did because it was on sale. I downloaded a game that I've been curious about on PlayStation 5. Well, and it was originally on PS4, but Days Gone.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is a open world zombie apocalypse game by Sony, but their Bend studio, which I don't even know if it exists anymore. I think it's closed.
I will go check. I think you're right.
I think they closed down shortly after this. So this was just a game where I was always curious about it because, I'd seen, a couple posts on Reddit about it, and they said it was, generally...
They still have a website.
It does it? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
With jobs posting.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Okay. I just can't think of what else they've made aside from this recently. But then again, I'm not super up on like a lot of Sony's first party output, but yeah, so this is an open world kind of zombie post-apocalyptic game where you're in the Oregon. Of course, they're in Bend, Oregon. So this game is set in the mountains of Oregon, and you are a biker.
Which are beautiful, by the way, if you've never been.
Yeah, gorgeous. And so, yeah, this game starts out, it has a lot of kind of tropes. I will say the one thing about this game is, I would say, just as a headline, I would say that this game, it's pretty good. I don't think it does anything particularly amazingly, but I don't think it does anything too poorly either. It's just kind of a middle-of-the-road open-world game, and I think that's partially why this game sort of came and went. But also, what I think is even more strange is why Sony, of all companies, decided to make this game, because The Last of Us Part 1 and 2, and its various remakes and reincarnations and remasters, I feel like that just dominated the post-apocalyptic zombie game space on Sony consoles for so long, and then in 2019 they decided to put out an open-world zombie apocalypse game, which is why this game is pretty much forgotten at this point, because The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 just like completely sucked all the air out of the room for zombie apocalypse games. Nobody wanted another one, but for some reason Sony decided to compete with itself effectively and put this game out. But yeah, so this kind of checks all the check boxes of an open world game, and what I would say is that if you're looking for this kind of experience, this will fit the bill, right? So the kind of the hook here is that you are a former biker from a bike gang, so you ride around the countryside on your motorcycle, and it has all of the sort of open world game accoutrements. There's different factions that you can attack camps that have been taken over by marauders, and you have the zealots that worship whatever. And you can upgrade. Your character has skill points, and you can upgrade your motorcycle. Of course, your real motorcycle gets stolen at the beginning of the game, so you're given this crappy motorcycle, and then the goal is to accumulate more money, doing various side quests and storyline quests, and then you can upgrade your bike and make it better and make it easier to traverse all the different types of terrain and everything like that. And and there's locations on the map where there's zombie infestations, and your job is to go and destroy those. And of course, you destroy all of those in a region, and you get some type of reward. There's all that kind of stuff. So it's good. It's definitely a solid game. It's definitely a solid game made by professionals, I would say.
Nice.
It's not blowing my socks off, but
you said the line, kids.
Yeah, it is. I would say. I can't say there's much I don't like about it. The characters are very kind of tropey, right? Like at the start, there's this your character is named Deacon St. John. And guess what? He's a grizzled white guy.
Of course he is.
Who's seen a lot of shit.
Of course he has.
And his girlfriend is hurt at the beginning, and she's airlifted via chopper to parts unknown. He thinks that she's dead, and so he is bitter and remorseful about her death. But is she really dead? Who knows? And of course he has a buddy who used to be in the bike gang with him, and he gets into trouble a lot, or something happens to him, and you have to keep him alive, and there's all these types of things. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, the game looks really good, and there's a lot of it has day-night cycles and weather cycles and stuff like that. And so and like the zombies, for example, they're called freakers in this game, and they are stronger at night. But there's also, actually, I think, they're weaker during the day, but there's more of them, and they're stronger at night, and there's less of them. Because and where that comes into play is when you try to take over these zombie nests, where you try to clear out areas of zombie infestations. So you have a choice whether or not you attack. You can attack them, whatever. But you have that tactical choice based on which weapons you have. You have, a melee weapon, and then a primary and a secondary. So right now, for example, so you might carry around, say, like a machete, a pistol, and a shotgun, right? And you can switch between those. And of course, the combat is very much like Last of Us, where, it's third person kind of over the shoulder combat. Multiple zombies are running at you at once. You can, beat them down with a melee weapon or shoot them with one of your guns or like a crossbow, something like that. There's all kinds of weapons in this game. There's a whole bunch. And also at that, you can craft different things too, craft Molotov cocktails. So it's anybody that has played The Last of Us or Last of Us Part 2 is going to be very familiar with this toolkit. It's pretty much the typical, post-apocalyptic zombie hunter toolkit here. You can beat them down with a spiked bat, a 2x4, a baseball bat, Molotov cocktails. It has all of that kind of tropey stuff, which is fine. It's, if anything, I think, I kind of make fun of it a little bit, but at the same time, at least you play it and you get it right away. You're familiar with it. Like, oh, okay, right, cool. So, nothing, it doesn't really throw many curveballs at you. It's like, oh, okay, so you throw a Molotov cocktail pretty much the exact same way you do in The Last of Us? Yeah, okay, all right, cool. I get it. And the terrain is very vertical, because you're in the mountains, but you can also climb up into forest, like the wildfire observation decks and stuff like that. And you can, take over camps and claim them for your own, so you have a place to rest. There's just all of that kind of stuff. So it's cool. So I think I'll keep pushing through it. The story so far it's okay. I'm just trying to see kind of where it's going. There's the element of, the government, which, are they, they try to save the country, but ultimately they fall, but are they really completely on the up and up?
Right.
So there's,
trust no one.
Yeah, there's a lot of that too, but also too, like the main character also kind of calls bullshit on the people that are more, like, oh, you can't trust the feds at all, they'll just shoot you dead, which is partially true, but at the same time, it's, the main character is kind of like, yeah, okay, all of that kind of like, because you have some factions that are, we the only thing we believe in is the U.S. Constitution. And the main character is sort of like, well, the Constitution is really not doing you a heck of a lot of good here in this zombie infested wasteland. So, but yeah, I mean, definitely, I would say if you're looking for this type of game, I'm trying to think. This is really like I think while I say, to be fair, while I say this game feels a little bit generic, I don't know if there's another open world zombie game like it out there. Maybe State of Decay.
It's the open world part.
Yeah,
State of Decay, I think so. Might do it, but State of Decay is very, very old at this point, isn't it?
And it's more survival, kind of make a bunker and keep your keep your group alive more so than an open world game like this. Like this is, and I feel like I feel like this game's funny because it makes me feel like, man, I don't play many open world games these days. But it is more like probably something like one of the newer like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or something like that, where it's just all kinds of stuff to do all over the map. And as you unlock more stuff, you just see more stuff to do. But also there's emerging side quests. You'll run by a guy, you'll drive by a guy on the side of the road. He's getting attacked by zombies, and you have to help him. You kill a couple zombies that are trying to kill him, and then he says, "Oh, thanks, man, really appreciate it." And then you tell him to go to this camp up the road, and then you build trust with that camp, which unlocks stuff at that camp when you go back there. Like you can get better upgrades. So a lot of this stuff kind of builds on each other, and you have choices too. Like you can, like there's one of the early quests is you have to get this guy's stash of drugs. And you can take it back to him, or you can give it to somebody else. And the difference there is, if you choose one, you unlock better weapons earlier, and then if you choose the other, you unlock ways to upgrade your bike better. For example, so there's a little bit of, choice-oriented gameplay there that you can make depending on what you want to do. I chose the bike because you use the bike all the time, and you can usually. There's not a lot of zombies around at the beginning of the game, at least different types of zombies, so I went with what I use constantly. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So I'm going to keep plowing through that on the side.
Cool. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, we're at an hour, so we're going to take a little break here. When we come back, we're going to do some more new business and maybe a listener mail or two. So stay tuned. We are back with more new business. And I'm going to ask Guillaume. Guillaume, what is your new business?
I really wish I had brought anything. But I've been playing a lot of Sonic I can't even say it anymore. Sonic Mania. And other than that, I'm still playing Absalom with Karen, and I'm afraid that if I'm gonna reach for something to talk about, it's gonna be my fall into mobile gaming addiction. Because sometimes I answer surveys online to get points that will give me air miles eventually, maybe to fly someplace. I'm pretty far from there at this point. But also, like, this website that I go to, they were like, you know what? Instead of answering surveys, why don't you just play some games on your phone? And these games will give you points. And I was like, yeah, this is not going to be worth it. But I guess I'm going to try.
And yet, you're like, wait, I've learned nothing from Bing Rewards. Let's go.
I know. But like,
for 6 years, I searched and got the wrong answer. Now Google does that for free with AI.
Yeah.
But I went and yeah, so I downloaded one of the games with a merge mention. It's nothing. Like, you just move things on a grid and they merge. Like, there's a whole story around it. I don't even... Whatever, nobody cares. But, like, you just keep merging things and then merge these things into other things. And, you know, and of course there are timers, there are gems and coins. You know, you get the coins through playing, but the gems are, you know, maybe you would like to pay real money to buy them. All of that stuff. And I'm really angry at myself at how I knew I'm vulnerable to this shit. You know, like cookie clicker, if I go and play that, like that kind of stuff, I will get addicted. And so I thought I was, I don't know. I don't know why I thought I was like too smart or too good for that. But I've been stuck playing this on and off for like the past 5 or 6 days. I've uninstalled the app probably a dozen times. And then I reinstall it because my save is still there. And also,
well, the malware is what's reinstalling it, Guillaume.
And the number and the number of times that I can play, you know, like you run out of energy, right? Because as you do in these games.
This is Guillaume right here. 100%.
If they've been using subliminal messaging to hypnotize him to reinstall it, is that personal malware or is that malware in yourself?
Well, it's just that, you know, like then like I'm on my phone and I'm like, you know what? There's like an ad on TV or something. I could be merging things right now. And of course I uninstalled the app before. But maybe I want to reinstall it because at this point I'll have regained my energy to be able to merge things. And so
I just want to point out that I am already drawing the TSI in my head of maybe I can merge things right now.
Yeah. So
and it's dark. I want to be clear. This is not going to be a happy one.
But maybe, so I was playing a little bit earlier before recording. Actually, I've been like, you know, I was like, okay.
How many times did you install it during this recording session?
No, I have not. But so here's the thing. The save is not local, of course. Right. And it's not on iCloud. And so I looked it up and like basically you have to go delete the account in the game. And so I went and did that. But of course, they don't want me to regret anything, you know, to do anything I might regret, right? And so my save will be deleted in 7 days. So next week at around...
It's like Facebook, man. Wow.
I know. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So next time, next recording at around like 10:30, we'll know if I've successfully deleted my save or if I went and reinstalled the fucking thing. I don't know. There's nothing to tell here other than this story. Like I'm just like humiliating myself on the podcast. Well, I don't have anything to. I mean,
that's what we do every week, Guillaume. What else is there?
What's curious to me? This is by the way, this is way better than any game you ever could have discussed, like any legitimate game. Because I'm just wondering of the psychology here. Like, what makes you keep reinstalling it?
Boredom, I guess. Like the briefest moment of boredom. Yeah, and I just don't have that many. It must install
fairly quickly.
Oh yeah. There's nothing to it. And I got like a brand new iPhone 16, and I guess like I don't really have anything to do with it. You know, like I got the latest phone, and I'm like, why did I buy the latest phone? I don't have apps other than like Blue Sky, I don't do anything on it. So I was like, well, this isn't one thing to do on it, but it was the wrong thing. I chose poorly. I don't know. Like, I was expecting to get this phone and be like, this will, I'll be happy about this, to have a new phone. And it turns out that, no, it's just another one of those. I know I'm not making any sense, but I've been sleep deprived. Why? Because I've been merging things instead of going to bed.
It's amazing.
Is the game like what? So this game, like, what is it like? Like what? Like, is the game actually decent? It must be.
No.
It must be reasonably.
It's a thing. Is this just like the fruit merge trend?
It's I've never merged fruit, thank God, but I don't.
Not yet.
Oh, but like you mean like what's it called? Melon in Japanese.
Yeah.
So no, it's not that. It's not Suika game.
Okay, good.
It's much worse than that.
Good.
Because it's just like a grid, like basically like there's like a plot, okay? Like this woman's father died and her mom is like has hidden secrets in the mansion. You need to uncover the mansion, like you need to fix up the mansion first though. But the mansion is huge, and fixing the mansion means basically merging things. So you start like you've got like this toolbox or whatever, and so you press on the toolbox a bunch of times, items will come out, tools, and then you merge like the I don't know, like the hammers to create a saw, as you do. And but like the thing is
that's how saws are born. Yes,
to get the hammer, you needed to get the I don't know, the mallets, and the mallets are created by merging a couple of monkey wrenches. And the monkey wrenches, well, there was like a smaller wrench that you merge first to get the monkey wrench.
So this is Suika game, but weirder,
I guess. But then, like, very quickly, your toolbox stops yielding tools. And so, you've got to wait for your energy counter to go up. Like, there's an energy counter. Oh. That's the total number of times you're going to be able to touch a thing to create another thing, to release another thing on the board. And you've also got, like, the toolbox itself. There will be a timer eventually.
What is this game called again?
Merge Mention.
Merge? Oh my god.
Yeah. And so the toolbox itself has a timer. Eventually, you're not going to be able to use it anymore, and there's going to be a timer, and you're going to have to wait until you can get more wrenches out of the fucking thing. That is until you upgrade the toolbox itself by merging it with another toolbox. Like, because, and like there are one-time items, like more... There's a whole bunch of stuff like this going on.
What the fuck are you playing?
I know. Apparently I have no defense against this.
This is amazing. This is new lore. We have new lore for the podcast, Guillaume. We just have you walking through a Lowe's, like playing with hammers and trying to rub them against each other to find a saw. We're getting into the dark place now. I'm happy about this. This is great. Just slam one toolbox into another one to get more toolboxes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as you do. And then there's even like some sort of eventually there's like a mystery thing going on. I don't know, you just get pictures. I'm not reading the text at all. I'm just too busy merging things to be paying attention to any kind of story. So yeah, and of course our limited time events, there's like some sort of festival going on right now. So when I merge things, I will make festival items pop out, like these necklaces that I can merge into sunglasses, that merge into drums, that merge into guitars. And then what do you do with the guitar? That's the highest form of festival good that you can get. Well, you just like touch it and it turns into another point, a kind of a point that fills another type of bar that gives you more stuff that you will then merge. So, yeah. So, I'm not proud of myself. But like that's all I've been doing this week.
You need to feel shame. You can feel perplexed that this game keeps pulling you back in.
Mm-hmm. Well, like like the what were those games called? Like Mini Tower or Tower? I don't know. Like
all these defense games you're talking?
No, but like just the vast genre of games that are built on timers and like they just make you think like, oh, like you just need to do this one thing to get the thing that you need, but you're going to have to wait. Like
Virtual Springfield is the go-to in my head,
right?
Because that was just like, okay, you want to build the Quickie Mart, you pick it, and then come back in 700 hours and it will be done,
right? Or pay $5.
Yeah, or give us $1.50 and it'll be done today. Yeah, and it's like, well, I mean, I really want I really need some Duff beer, so I guess.
Right, but the Duff beer will probably cost you something once you've got the Quickie Mart built. Anyway,
that's true, but you'll be drunk, so it's fine. Now you have an excuse.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Like that stuff works on me, and I knew this because, like the number go up, like no gameplay whatsoever, just like fill gauges and numbers, whatever. I knew that it worked on me, and yet I still made the mistake of installing the thing in the first place. So,
all right, I'm gonna save you, Guillaume. I'm gonna save you right now.
Okay,
you ready for this? Do you have so if y'all will remember, I talked about a game on here 4 years ago, 4 phones. That was a Netflix game. What was that?
Are you talking about Point B?
Yeah, it's back and it's free.
It
doesn't have weird merge shit or ads. It's just free. They just give it away.
Yeah, by the creator of Downwell. I actually, before Merge Mention, I downloaded and played some Point B, and I just as I didn't really care that much for Downwell, I don't really care that much for Point B.
Oh.
It's fine, but like apparently it's a little bit too involved for me. This
is a game that I once played while I was on the phone with my tax representative, and it's like, it's too much. Can't do it.
Sure. No, but it's like it also does have the thing that Downwell has. Like the more you play, the more stuff you unlock, right? And
yeah.
But apparently, like the fact that I suck at it is enough of a barrier for me to be addicted to that. Like I'm at level 5, and I don't feel like it. Like I don't feel like getting to level 6. I don't need to unlock something else that will help me do better and do more of this stuff. I don't know. Like I don't know why one works on me and not the other. But
if you haven't played it, you should go play it. It's very good.
Yeah, it's and if you haven't played Merge Mention, you're good. Don't do it. Don't play it.
What other can we get Guillaume into balloons? It's something that will keep you safe from the Merge Mentions.
No, I think I'll just doom scroll on Blue Sky forever.
That's definitely safer. That's definitely better for your mental well-being.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, no, I've just I don't know. Merging stuff, watching.
You say other than that, but we just went on an adventure, so I think we're fine. I think you've given us an excellent segment.
Yeah. Hopefully it will be completely different next week. It will be good old boring. Guillaume actually plays a good game on a Nintendo system. Convo, which
I kind of don't want that anymore.
Is Merge Mansion coming to Switch?
Yeah, no, I want degenerate Guy, playing a game that is basically online gambling.
You guys are not my friends.
It's like,
clearly you don't want what's best for me.
I like that we're giving, like, John and I are giving Guillaume a little taste of what we give each other every episode. And he's like, this is an unhealthy relationship.
I want degenerate Guy. Degenerate, if you will.
Oh boy.
Degenerate, comma, if you will, period. And I won't. I want to be clear. I will not. What the fuck? Like, I've listened to one of the 2 episodes I wasn't on. Am I the problem? This shit doesn't happen when I'm not around.
I don't know. Hey, nobody saw this coming from Guy. I'm not even the person
who said degenerate, if you will. Yeah. I was like, what? Am I just like a bad reactant? Am I just being mixed into the chemical and just dumb shit happens? Oh my god.
I don't know.
It's like, well, everything was fine until we added the gasoline to the mix. Why would you do that? I don't know. Science.
Hey.
What happened? We all died. Oh, okay, cool.
This is actually very similar to one of the paths that you can take in, what else? The 100-line Last Defense Academy. In one of the comedy
I was going to say, I think maybe it'd be better if you went back in 100-line jail and then there we are. But
actually, yeah, maybe it would be. But I just
we're going back?
No, but like very quickly, like so it's a comedy route. So the main character gets something called smartass syndrome. And so if he says anything smartassy, he explodes. If he makes like a smartass remark, he explodes. But unfortunately, one of the side effects of smartass syndrome is that it triggers like, what's it called? Like clown syndrome in like the others around him. So they become extra stupid and extra silly.
Oh, good.
And so he has it takes everything for him to actually hold his tongue. And so maybe that's what you've got. Maybe you get smartass syndrome.
100 line sounds. The problem is every time Guillaume talks about 100 line, he talks about how much it's hurting him, and then he says something like this, and I'm like, fuck. I need to play that. It's wait, what? What do you mean he explodes if he says something smart ass?
Yeah, Guillaume he's one of those guys who's like, do as I say, not as I do. I'm not a role model.
Meanwhile,
that's
I'm
Guillaume.
in the eShop going like, is it on sale? No, it's not on sale. Shit.
Maybe I can ship you the
that sounds terrible.
Cartridge.
Put on the wish list. He explodes. That's like, it's the very specificity of it's not just he dies.
Mm-hmm.
He fucking explodes. It's perfect. I love it. I'm just gonna go play Point B for the rest of the episode. Maybe if I do that, I'll appease whatever demons I bring into the show.
Sure.
Anything else?
No, that's literally it.
Okay, Craig, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I do worry sometimes that, whatever comes out of my mouth might be quite depressing just by virtue of it coming out of my mouth. But in this case, it can't be worse than that, can it, really? It's just more self-defeating now. So, yeah, been lots of Sonic Mania for me as well. I finished my sort of first run through the kind of regular Mania mode, and so I might have some time to mess around with the Encore stuff before we get to talk about it. But other than that, yeah, kept plugging away at Splatoon Raiders, rolled the credits on it. So, it did ramp up a little bit just before the credits. But again, I think, because I'd kind of kept reasonably ahead of the kind of leveling up by doing a lot of the available challenges, it wasn't anything particularly kind of difficult or spiky, but as you would expect, lots of post-game stuff has opened up after the credits, and that certainly seems like, I'm going to have to build up the character quite a lot. maybe to really kind of have a shot at taking some of that stuff down. So now just kind of looking at some of the stuff that did fall by the way. So like certain levels where I might have missed like collectibles and stuff, especially the compasses, because the compasses are like collectible things in blue crates during levels that if you find them, it gives you the opportunity to open up one of these sampler dungeons on the map that are like, as I mentioned last week, a bit like shrine type challenges, Zelda shrine type challenges based on particular bits of equipment that are independent of like where your character is, and they're just fun individual challenges. I want to see as many of those as I can, and I got most of them just kind of naturally, but like looking at the checklist, there's some that I missed. So yeah, it's kind of an opportunity to go back to levels, and you can play them on essentially like it might be an early mission, but then like you can go back and play a scaled up version that they could like spicy mode or like super spicy, and then it's like, oh well, now this thing that might have been originally aimed at like level 17 is like level 35, so you won't just completely breeze through it. If you go back to it, it'll present a certain amount of challenge, and you can mop up the collectible that you missed at the same time while building the character towards being able to take on some of this actually sort of unique post-game stuff. So yeah, that's what I do, kind of building up some of the equipment and stuff that I didn't lean on as much, and clean up things, but it's not tremendously different or anything, that it's got its fair share of the number go up evil working behind the scenes. Of just kind of like, the gameplay loop is, it's a familiar one, it's one I like, but how much it develops is, kind of, it doesn't develop substantively as much as it does numerically, with the just like, okay, everything's getting more powerful. Although, I think there's a lot of different ways that you improve equipment, and especially with the secondary weapons, the sort of tinkering that they, has literally, how they, sort of categorize it. You get all these different kinds of buffs and different effects you can add to those secondary weapons that you kind of have to essentially craft in the first place. I mean, you get secondary sort of effects as like loot, but you can also craft them from other shit that is loot, and then really say, okay, no, this would be really useful for this particular secondary weapon. So it isn't just numbers going up. There's a certain amount of agency. There's a certain amount of, okay, if you based on things you've done, challenges you've come up against, and you think, what, this would be really kind of useful to have. You can get in there and find combinations of things that could serve that purpose. So, to be fair, for as much as the gameplay is, pretty one note and all that, there is still a meaning, a progression to building up the character. But yeah, I'll probably ease off it a bit now, admittedly, now it's settled into the post. Kind of, like I said, it's pretty suitable for casual play. I've not, speaking of where we started off the show with James and online and how prominent it is in my mind versus other people's, have not touched it online once. I really am too mean to do that at some point. You get like unlockables for, helping someone else with a raid or having somebody come into your raid or whatever, but I've not done it because it's just, I've played it strictly in that kind of casual way, and that will give it some staying power. But yeah, now that I've kind of seen a lot of it, it'll probably kind of take a little bit of a backseat and, go see what happens in the run up to, I guess, we got Fire Emblem next month, haven't we? Fortune's Weave had the direct this week, was sort of outlining some of the kind of elements of it and whatnot. So it looks interesting.
Yeah, the direct. So I just watched the direct for the show in case we decided to talk about it. It didn't give us a lot. Like a lot of the direct is just, this is Fire Emblem ultimately. It did give us a little bit of some the gameplay stuff. Like the schedule feels not dissimilar from where they started going with Three Houses in terms of the between battles you can do prep work stuff. But pretty much every game since Three Houses has had that in some form or another, so that's not that shocking. And by that I mean the one game since then. It does have the rollback time mechanic. The weapon types, they didn't seem to talk weapon triangle. They talked individual strengths of weapons. So it might be, because I want to say the bad one, the one that came out last, the VTubery one. That one didn't do the hard weapon triangle either. It did more, hey, these things have strengths. But like it looks nice. They gave more story than I expected. There's a story twist and they just gave it away. Like that's the kind of thing that Nintendo in the past would have put in the review notes to say, like, at embargo terms, don't mention that the main character isn't any of the four that we mentioned. It's this other dude. And then that would be the big surprise when you're playing it.
I guess, I mean, we're probably coming up on doing, like, preview stuff for the game at some point, so maybe it's just kind of like, well, if we're going to preview the game, give the media a chance to get hands-on with, kind of the more substantial part of the game, maybe, with like you said, the kind of, it's vaguely ActRaiser-y, although not quite. Because I think in
a little bit, yeah.
In ActRaiser, it's like the literal essence of the deity transfers into a statue essentially and animates it and then goes off on the quest. Whereas here, it's like a separate entity, but it is still just like created by a deity type character to just go and do their bidding,
or at least summoned. Because time travel is a mechanic, so like it's entirely possible this is a being that was summoned from another time or another place or is dead and has been, like, I don't know. It's we have a ghost, which ultimately that's not that dissimilar from the plot of Three Houses or the plot of the Three Houses Warriors game. Where it's just like, yeah, we brought this entity into the world specifically to do the bidding of this divine being in a problem that we foresaw. But rather than actually fix it ourselves, we just said like, it's fine. We'll send this other thing instead. A very Lord of the Rings solution to the problem by our divine powers of like, this is kind of beneath us. We're just going to send some people instead. Whatever. Fuck it. I don't know. I'm very interested in playing it. Like,
I don't know what your problem is. They sent Radagast. He's gonna sort it out.
They sent Radagast,
the Brown, if you will.
They sent an elf that had already died once. They sent someone that they knew was maybe a little too obsessed with power and learning, which is how we got in this problem to begin with. Just as a reminder. Yeah, like it's just. Whereas they could have sent literally one of themselves and solved the problem in literally minutes. They decided that this should take 4,000 fucking years. It's just laziness all around. Just absolute goddamn laziness. God, it really does take like 4,000 years too. What a 4,000 years of suffering to solve a problem they could have solved in minutes. That is my kind of delegation. I was going to buy this game anyway, but it looks good. I'm very curious how they manage the four characters because they're not the main characters. So like, do you pick one of them and run with their stuff, or do you play as all of them ultimately?
Yeah, we did talk about the fact that you can sort of skip sort of among the characters and play their different paths. And so again, maybe they felt like it was worth telling players, in advance that it's like, well, none of these are like the protagonists. So maybe that informs your decision about, do you want to just like mainline one, or do you want to actually skip among them and see, kind of, what happens that way and how that manifests itself in the kind of latter part of the campaign.
But like that opens the question of at some point they have to face each other. So what does that mean? But I also liked that the game says like, or you can just say fuck them and just go in there yourself, guns blazing against the big bad.
Yeah. It always reminds me of and I guess this is a little bit of a Zelda thing, but like with the what was it called again? Ukulele in the Impossible Lair, where it's like you can just go to the end of the game straight away, but it's really, really difficult. And you got the only way that you'd realistically be able to get any far in the titular Impossible Lair is if you've got, extra hits to kind of learn it, and you can only gain those by actually playing the rest of the game. Is it that kind of thing where it's like, well, if you actually knew the battles already, you could theoretically you knew the correct strategies, for instance, you wouldn't need the help of the heroes so much, but realistically any kind of first time player would, so you would have to lean on them.
But because this is an RPG ultimately, is it possible your divine character just isn't strong enough? Or is that the one character that's leveled up and maybe you can eke out a win? Like that makes a lot of sense in a skill-based game, even down to a Breath of the Wild, where there is a lot of soft leveling up your character, even if there's no number bar that tells you it's leveling up. That becomes very complicated looking at a tactical RPG that's supposed to be armies on armies. How the fuck does that work? How do you do that with no allies and no leveling up? I don't have an answer to that, but I'm curious. I'm definitely not going to try it on the first pass. That sounds like it's just going to be frustrating, but I'm sure somebody will figure it out. And I'm very curious what that means, what that looks like, but right now, that just sounds impossible. All right. Well, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We're gonna. I was talking with these guys ahead of time about when we want to do the Sonic Mania retroactive. We had said next week. Are you guys good if we push it 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So not next week. That would be this is 87. So 89 we're going to do it. Because we're not doing the 999 retroactive. That's fine. I'm going to start getting y'all more details on the episode 1000 stuff. I need to get back in touch with Johnny to work through it. I'm saying it out loud in case I forget, then Johnny hears it and will ping me instead. He was going to help me set some stuff up. I'll get some more details fleshed out on that as well in the very near future. Gentlemen, we're at 33 minutes, 59 seconds. Do we want to do an email? I don't have one because I don't know what y'all did last week. If not, we can make a shorter episode. That's okay too.
I don't know if we have much new email for this
Okay,
episode.
well in that case, I'm gonna take a minute here and ask for some email. I haven't done this plea in a little bit. I usually just say, send your email to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. That's rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. I have gotten so comfortable saying that phrase, I can stop and start my cadence at all kinds of tiers and accelerate, decelerate, soften, harden, bring it out, bring it in. And it's just all mechanical at this point. rfn@nintendoworldreport.com.
I mean, James, you're not the only one that can do that on this podcast.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
For 2 weeks
when you remember the email address,
flawless
you did
execution on my part.
I'm impressed. It was not a comment that I have some exclusive purview over the ability to say RFN at NintendoWorldReport.com. It was more an observation that it's so mechanical I can still change the inflection and I'm not even really thinking about it. It is automaton-like at this point. But that's not really a plea for email. That is just a declaratory statement that if you send email... Well, yeah, that's true. It's a declaratory statement that if you were, as an individual, to send an email to RFN at NintendoWorldReport.com, I don't even think I can say it normally anymore, that we would get it. I'm not imploring you to do that with that statement, though. I'm simply giving you that fact that sending an email to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com will get it in our inbox. What I'm going to do now, instead, is pitch you on why you should send an email to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. So you see, this show runs on two things. Games that we are playing. We just heard a whole segment and a half about games that we're playing. You heard everything from Merged Mansion to Splatoon Raiders to an underwater hellscape of a town in Pokopia. And that's cool stuff. Like, that's a lot of variety you got. You got to hear about, I'm going to say 6 games that you may not have played. And a bonus game of us telling you should at least try Point B. Give Point B a shot. Go give Point B a shot. And the second segment is email. An email brings us all kinds of weird ideas. Email isn't just like, I have a question I want them to answer. Because we've answered a lot of questions over 1,000 episodes. Effectively 1,000. I'm rounding up a little bit. But emails don't have to be questions. You know, I often do games when I give you the types of things it can be. I don't know why I do games that way. I just do it. It could be philosophical. It could be an observation. It could be a thought that's been kind of like, how my brain works when I have a thought that's sort of nagging at me. I can physically feel it, like an itch. If you have that particular brand of mental irregularity, and there's like this video game related thought that's just like an itch, go ahead and send it to us. It'll effectively scratch it for you. And like, I don't know that we're going to have a great reflection on what you say, or that we're going to have a thing to respond to. And it's entirely possible that if we don't, we just won't pull the email. But that's the thing. If you send us an email, we're not obligated to use it. So if you're not confident that the email is of sufficient quality for the show, don't worry. One, sufficient quality for this show is an incredibly, we'll say, elastic target. And two, if it's not, we won't judge you for it unless it's deliberately stupid. Then we'll judge you for it. We just won't use it. So if you've got a thing and it's like you just want us to know what you're thinking about, fuck it, fine, whatever. Do try to keep it video game related. Like there are things I don't need you to tell me about your life, not because I don't want the best for you, just because I don't need to know. But if it's about games, if you've got like a thought about the state of the industry or the state of gameplay design or like what you feel is missing from the Switch 2, that could be an idea right out of the gate. What feature of the Switch 2 is being underutilized and why? There's just things you can try out. Go pull out your copy of Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour. Pull out your copy of this digital only product. Go boot up Welcome Tour. Go through it and go like, what things have we not seen? Like, send us an email that says like, hey, I haven't seen that they've used insert concept here from Welcome Tour in any games. Why do you think that is? And then we can talk about that. That's a free email. So you're going to get your name read on the show if you send that free email. It's not free. You have to actually go into Welcome Tour and research it and come up with an example. I didn't give you one. But that's the idea. You can join the march of history by getting your name read on this show with your potentially stupid email to go with it. That's it. I'm gonna self-aggrandize to try to get you to send an email. You can be part of the legacy of Radio Free Nintendo. John, can you imagine? Like, could you put a monetary value on being part of the legacy, the rich tapestry of Radio Free Nintendo?
You can't put a price on emotions, James.
You absolutely can put it. If I give you $1 million, I just put a price on your happiness. You are happy because you have $1 million.
Actually, you're right. I was wrong.
I always say that. You can't buy money, can't buy happiness. I'm like, yeah, it fucking can.
You can try it. Try me.
Yeah. Let's give it a go. I bet if I make $1 billion, I'm going to be in a pretty good fucking mood. Just a thought. Right. Yeah. Just a thought.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not asking you to send us $1 billion. If you have $1 billion, I mean, I'll take it. Sure. Don't get me involved in money laundering, please. I don't need that. But if you have a thought, if you have an observation, if you have a topic you think we could provide some interesting commentary on, not necessarily smart commentary. Lord knows, not necessarily smart commentary, but something that you think we are well suited to comment on. Like, the crew had an interesting conversation about what could AI do in games that's not just like replacing people. And like, again, because I'm not on the show, I had interesting thoughts. When I am on the show, I would have answered it and gone, it can make game tests good and QA be easy. QA team not miss bugs now. Everyone happy. Haha. Fun game. No crashies. Whereas if I'm not on the show, I'm like, oh, well, if you have a tactics game and you are starting to hedge into the space of, I found a weakness in the breastplate of the armor that I'm going to exploit every single time. A learning AI could take input from all of your game sessions and realize you found a chink in their armor and patch it in ways the game developers wouldn't have to deliberately create, or it could just try things until it finds that it solved the problem you're presenting it. And maybe it gets it worse the first time, and the next time it gets it better. It could create that kind of pattern changes that you couldn't program all the scenarios for because you'd have to think of exploits in the game. And if you're a developer who's thinking of exploits in your game, you'd probably just patch them out. And you can do this in a single player game too. So like it's not like an exclusively multiplayer thing. Ogre Battle 64 was the answer that popped into my head. I found and I talked about this in our retroactive. I created a formation on my second playthrough of that game that the AI doesn't know it can't solve it. Doesn't know how to solve it. It's very solvable. I know exactly how to beat it, but the AI doesn't. It would a proper learning system would detect that I'm doing it over and over and over again and start trying different things to fix it. And that would have made that game much more difficult once it cracked the case and my entire army was built and was now a solved problem. That would be fun and unique. That's an idea. Like, that kind of thing is an idea you could send to the show.
Well, it would be unique, but would it be fun? Like, the whole point of games is that you can beat them.
Yeah, no, I would have had a lot more fun because I would have had to keep changing things up. Like, I eventually found an Omni tool that solved every problem. And so by having the game constantly push back when I'm over leveraging the Omni tool, it would force me to invent new approaches. And that's fun. Like, but you're right. Winning is part of the joy of the game, but also the challenge is there. Like, if it's a game that's going to challenge me mentally, I want it to do that. I don't want to solve the problem on one shot. I wouldn't want that scenario for the game to compare with every other player playing the game everywhere else in the world and develop into the unbeatable AI, because that would suck. That would be like, oh, there's no beating this fucking thing. But I would, if you were to take, what was the Unicorn Overlord? If you were to have every session of Unicorn Overlord that was ever played feeding into a data heuristics AI, so not LLM, and generating like, hey, these tactics are being overused by players and they are being overused with success. Many players are using this formulation of unit. That formulation of unit is achieving success at a statistically very high rate. Then you could have something like mixing statistics of where that formation fails on top of just using a generative, like, here's the information we've given you. Pick a solution. We're not asking it to be brilliant. We're just asking it to pick something and test and see what happens. Like, that would turn into a situation where you'd have an AI that could become relatively unbeatable because it would just keep foreclosing paths that are beatable. But that might be kind of a novel thing too, of the deeper you go. This happens with multiplayer games online. The later you join the game, the harder the players are. What if that was like a PvE and the enemies got better and better and better? And eventually you're going to get to the point where the players have like a sub 1% success rate against it. And it's truly coming up with novel ideas that makes it possible to win. Something that it's never seen before. It doesn't know how to process what you're doing. There is fun in that. It's a different kind of fun, but it's at least something that's not just like, we don't want to have artists. It's using the tool for something that probably couldn't do right now without having somebody go in there and programmatically add in the new tactics, invent a new tactic and just throw it in. And even then, having a hand guide some of this work would be good too. But again, this was supposed to be an example. I wasn't actually trying to answer an email that nobody asked, but it was an example of the kind of thing you could send as an email. That's not necessarily explicitly a question. So that's a long plea for me to say, hey, our inbox is looking a little parched and we need your reins. I don't know. I lost the plot on that analogy. We need you to make the email faucet turn on. And you can do that by sending your ideas, not even necessarily a question, to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. That is rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. As I mentioned a minute ago, and just sort of reached consensus on, we're going to do our retroactive on Sonic Mania in 2 episodes. So go ahead and get your comments in. You can go to the Discord thread and post some comments there. It is in the... Hold, please. I'll put it in the article. Let's just do that. I'll put it in the article. I'm back writing the article, so get ready to read an essay of dumb bullshit. Look forward to that. And I think that's it for announcements. Does anybody else have anything?
Hell no.
Well, before we get to the final song, I feel like the song should be If I Had $1 Million by the Bare Naked Ladies. But it won't be. We will definitely get tagged on Content ID and YouTube if we do that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, just know the show is actually on YouTube. You can listen to it there because Google Podcasts are like, migrate to YouTube, and I'm like, fucker, we don't have video, and they just sort of do it for us somehow. I don't know how it works. It's weird. I think it's just our logo. I don't know. I need to go back and look at them. There's like hundreds of episodes out there. I don't think anybody listens to them on YouTube. It's amazing. This is truly content for content's sake. All right. Anyway, email. No. Music. Greg.
Yes.
I would appreciate if you were to provide me some music so that we can conclude this fine episode of this podcast.
Sure. Well, as luck would have it, we recorded on the 6th of August, which is the 40th anniversary for Metroid, the original release back on Famicom Disk System in Japan. It followed, I think, almost a year later in America as a password pack with the silver packaging to sort of compensate for the lack of the Famicom Disk System save feature. But this is where it began all those years ago. And musically, the kind of difference in format is relevant because I'm going to go with the end theme. And the thing about Metroid between Famicom Disk System and NES is that the kind of in-game soundtrack was essentially the same. Because while Famicom Disk System had an extra sort of sound channel, in gameplay it was used for sound effects. So the music, was the same, essentially. But the title theme, which is very cool, and the credits, there is no gameplay, so then they could use that extra channel actually in the music itself. So it is like, I don't know whether it's as drastic as something like the Konami's VRC6 for the Japanese version of Castlevania 3, which has, I think, like 3 extra sound channels or something. It's not as, it's not like unrecognizable or anything, but it's definitely a bit richer. Kind of feel like it's, obviously as it was meant to be heard, as it was originally composed for, with that extra sound channel. And just, was a great way to conclude the original Metroid with its, kind of a relatively memorable ending sequence that has often been sort of essentially reprised in subsequent games. But I can't imagine Nintendo will be doing that much with this particular anniversary, because I remember when it was the same thing for Zelda, which was a launch title for the disc system, they did acknowledge it, because in Japan the Switch sort of online sort of thing, that you can go to on the Switch menu, and the icons they have for your Switch account or whatever. they had something for Disc-kun, the mascot of the Famicom Disk System, to commemorate that. Otherwise, it's like, no, we're not going to talk about that now because it's got to wait for the Ocarina of Time, the then unannounced Ocarina of Time remake that's going to be at the end of the year. So we're just going to kind of pretend it isn't really the answer. And of course, yeah, with Metroid again, yeah, that I don't imagine they'll make a big deal out of it, but. You know, this is where it all began 40 years ago.
Cool. All right. Well, on that, it is time for us to go. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Later.
Bye-bye.